Good evening. I'm George Herbig, Chief Forecaster here with Weather Now Kentucky. Welcome into the broadcast here. We do have an update regarding to the strong to severe storms that we're expecting to see tomorrow, which is Wednesday, March 11th, if you're watching this on playback later on. And we have a little bit of new information to share with you tonight when it comes to the model data. All I got to say before we start this broadcast is thank God we are not seeing the severe weather tonight. My word, if any of you have opened up a radar tonight, you need to go look to our west and to our north. It is a full-on outbreak of destructive weather that's happening. It is insane. I haven't seen a radar light up like this in a long time when it comes to not only severe weather, but destructive weather, the weather that's happening. It is quite insane. I want to say also, I know you guys are going to have a lot of questions. We will do a brief Q&A toward the end of the video. Most of your questions will be answered throughout the video if you know where you're at on a map and if you listen up to the information that we're going to give to you. I do feel like there are areas, maybe in the northern portions of Kentucky, we'll iron those out and kind of show you what we're talking about, that could see an upgrade to an enhanced or a level 3 out of 5 risk by the SPC when it comes to tonight's update for tomorrow. There may also be 2 rounds of severe weather tomorrow, so we need to iron those details out with you as well. So as you're coming into the broadcast, if you would not mind, help us by spreading this information out and help by doing your part by sharing the broadcast. At the bottom portion of your screen, you'll see that arrow there. That is the share button. You can share this broadcast out on your news feed so that way your friends and family can view it, and it helps us grow as well. So thank you to everyone that does that. Thank you, of course, for all the hearts and everything as well. We appreciate you guys helping us out with getting this information spread out, because I think tomorrow has got the potential to produce some damaging weather, but at least for tonight, we get to avoid what's happening out to our west. As always, say hello as you're coming in so I can greet you. Secondly, we'll give it about a minute or two before we get started. Just allow folks some time to get in here and get settled in. If you are just now hopping in here, of course, you have not missed anything. I'm going to pull up the radar for you guys too, because I want you guys to kind of see while we're waiting that minute or two. By the way, if you're just now hopping in here, you haven't missed anything. Thank you, Roberta, so much. I appreciate that kindness. If you are just now hopping in here, you haven't missed anything. We haven't started yet. Of course, I always give it a couple moments, allow people to get the shares and stuff done. I also want to say thank you to everyone that's trusted us and throughout these last few events, and of course this one here. Look at this radar. This is not for us tonight. This is a portion of what's coming tomorrow. We will tell you that. It should be a weaker version, but it will still be probably strong to severe. But, I mean, look at what's happening up here into Illinois. It is crazy. You have a destructive thunderstorm warning here with 2-inch size hail. On this warning here, it seems to have calmed down a little bit. I say that, but look at the box still. 3-inch diameter hail. That'll just go right through a roof. I mean, it'll go right through a roof. It'll go right, through your car windows. I mean, not only that, but there was also a tornado observed in the same cell at the same time that there was DVD-sized hail falling down about 10 minutes ago. I mean, just flat out absurd what's happening up there in northern Illinois, now crossing into northern Indiana. If you look back out here toward Missouri, 3 destructive warnings on this bad boy, on this one cell alone. Almost 2-inch sized hail there, almost 2-inch sized hail there with tornado possible tag, 2-inch sized hail there, damaging severe thunderstorm warning there. Tornado warnings all throughout Oklahoma, going down into Texas. I mean, it is a full-on kind of, the start of an outbreak here from Michigan through Illinois, through Nebraska, or not Nebraska, my goodness, through Iowa, through Missouri, Oklahoma, Kansas, and Texas. I mean, it is insane out there. They, right now, by the way, they actually have a moderate risk in place up here and enhanced around it, and a double barrel enhanced risk down here. So quite the insane. There is a marginal 1 out of 5 risk for Kentucky for tonight. I don't really see any storms happening here. So again, if you're just not hopping in here, we were just kind of going over what was happening in the other areas throughout the country. You have not missed anything about the information for tomorrow just yet. We have not started on that. I was buying some time for you guys to get in here and share the broadcast and say hello. So hello to everybody. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Is that a new type of warning? No, destructive's always been a warning. But anyway, as for us for tonight in Kentucky, the reason that there is currently a risk in the state, I'll kind of zoom this in for you so you can see a little bit better. There is a 1 out of 5 risk, and yes, unfortunately, that does include a hatched tornado risk for the far western portions of the state. Now, I will say, I find it hard to believe that a cell is going to survive in our state tonight. And what I mean by that is if you take a look over here, this crazy map here just kind of shows you this blue that's in the western half of Kentucky right now. That is negative storm energy. So that means that a storm, when it goes up, it has to shoot its column of air and column of moisture up. And when it does, it will hit that layer of negative storm energy and likely die. And the reason for that is not only is it very warm at the ground, when you walk outside, it's obviously very muggy, very warm out there. You could tell something's about to come to Kentucky just by walking outside. It doesn't take a scientist or a rocket scientist to figure that out. But when you walk out there, obviously it feels very warm and muggy. What's also very warm and muggy above our heads. Now, a lot of people would think, oh, that leads to storms. No, there has to be a layer of cooler or dry air above our heads continuing up. And we don't really have that tonight in Kentucky. And so what that leads to is a cap on the environment, or a lid, if you've ever heard that. And storms have to bust through that cap in order to really survive and produce strong to severe weather across the state. Right now, there are a couple of showers trying to do that. I have been watching this for the last hour and a half or so, just kind of watching the radar here. And kind of, if you go back here and kind of watch, you'll see for yourself. Look at just how they're dying. So they're going up and they're trying. They're testing what we call testing the cap. They're testing to see if they can break through it, and they're just not. They're fading out just as we expected. So on last night's broadcast, we told you there was a risk in Kentucky for tonight, but I didn't personally think it would actually materialize to anything, and that looks to be the case right now. I can't rule out a storm or two popping up. You see some trying to go up toward Greenville now, Central City. Obviously, you see this rain back out here to western Kentucky. This rain is going to help to grow that cap as well to block the storms. So, for tonight in Kentucky, if there is a cell to pop up, it would likely be the northwestern portion of the state. By the way, thank you to everyone on Facebook. I appreciate all of that. I'll get to all of you all in a moment. Thank you very much. A lot of generosity going on the Facebook side right now. If there was a cell to pop up in Kentucky tonight, it could be severe because there is a crap ton of storm energy available. I just really don't think it's going to happen for tonight for us. As for tomorrow, let's go ahead and get into what we're seeing here. So I have a different background on tonight. I have a black background on tonight. I feel like it makes it easier to see the city labels for you guys. Let me know what you guys think about that. There is going to be a 2 out of 5 risk for everyone in the state. So this makes your questions a lot easier. So this is from the SPC. This is from the experts at the National Weather Service's Storm Prediction Center, and this is going to be a slight or 2 out of 5 risk for everyone in the state. Now, earlier I mentioned that there is going to be probably the possibility, anyway, of an enhanced or 3 out of 5 risk. So if you got 1 through 5, 3 is obviously a little bit higher there. And if that is to happen, I have a feeling it's probably going to be somewhere in here. Somewhere in that blue circle, I think, and then of course up toward Ohio and Pennsylvania. The reason that they have not, so for the last 2 updates, so whenever they give these risk maps out, they also give a text and a breakdown of kind of what they did to get to these maps. In those breakdowns, in both of the last 2 updates, they have mentioned that they have flirted with the idea of already upgrading portions of Kentucky and Ohio up toward Pennsylvania to a 3 out of 5 risk. The reason that they have it, and I'm going to show you on the model data, is because there may be a morning round of thunderstorms tomorrow morning in Kentucky. In those morning round of thunderstorms, they also pose a severe risk. But on the opposite side, they could help to reduce the severe risk with the main frontal line that'll come through tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening. So yes, there is the possibility now of 2 rounds of strong to severe storms in Kentucky for Wednesday. So again, by the way, I don't know if you guys saw this, but this was, if I can pull it up here, yes. Yeah, there we go. This was our forecast that we made back on Monday at 1:15 p.m. Eastern Time. Ironically enough, it's almost exactly where we may think that enhanced risk could come according to the SPC. It's very close. They have said it for the last 2 forecast updates that it's very close. It's all going to depend. I'm telling you guys right now, it's all going to depend on what exactly we see tomorrow morning. And tomorrow morning's round could be severe, but it all depends on how long that lasts. If it lasts all the way until 12 to 1 p.m., well, it only gives our environment a couple of hours to destabilize, to support severe weather tomorrow night. Let's go ahead and show you what I'm talking about on the model data because it may be easier to understand on the model data here. So let me exit it out. Thank you. I have to tell them about that little bug too. Let's go ahead and pull up the HRRR 18Z run. Now, I don't think this model is the best at handling this, but it is the best when it comes to time frames. I think that if you're a nerd like me and you know what I'm talking about, the impasse models were built for a system like this. But nonetheless, here is the HRRR model. Now, I know this is very hard to see, but if you look down to the bottom left where my cursor is at, just above our news line here, you'll see the time frame for where the model is actually at. I know it's very hard to see unless you turn your phone sideways and get a full screen, or if you're watching on your TV. But the time frame for the model, see as we go through here, as I click, you'll see it's down there in the bottom left. You see how the time changes? So if I forget to call at the time, you can kind of look down there to the bottom left and see that. Okay? Thank you guys again for all the likes and the shares. Y'all are really doing a great job on this broadcast. Thank you very much. We appreciate that, by the way. Advancing this forward, you'll see the model does try to kick up some rain showers later this evening, but you can see how they kick them up right there toward just east of Madisonville and just west of Owensboro, and then they kind of eventually fade out. Again, the model is also trying to say, hey, there's going to be a few rain showers that maybe test the cap tonight, but probably are not going to survive. So again, that reinforces the idea that Kentucky escapes the severe threat for tonight, which we already kind of thought that would be the idea. Advancing this forward, this is when things start to get a little bit different. I know, unfortunately, I'm going to say this before we get started on the actual model data here. Okay, we have about 4 to 6 models that we look at this time range. And of those 4 to 6 models, there's really not much agreement. And I know it sucks because we're, 12 hours from that. Well, I guess actually we're about 8 hours from that first round potentially starting. And we still don't have model agreement. And that makes our jobs a lot harder, makes the NWS's jobs a lot harder. All I'm going to say is tomorrow is much more of a play-by-ear type of day. I know it sucks to hear. You want to hear a firm answer, and we're going to get as firm as we can, as confident as we can. But I also think honesty in this industry is the best policy, and I'm telling you guys, we're not going to know how severe tomorrow can be until we get up tomorrow morning and see what that first line is going to do. We're just not going to know, okay? Advancing this forward to 5 to 6 a.m., you'll see this model is predicting a couple of supercells potentially possible. Let me back this up. You'll see that darker cell into southern Indiana just to the east of Evansville heading toward Louisville. This model is trying to project that. I'm not going to click on the data, but it's trying to project it as like a baby supercell. It also sees a little bit of a cell just south of Daviess County into Owensboro heading into northern Hardin County and Louisville. And again, you'll notice that northeastern side of the state, just north of Frankfort, just north of the I-64 corridor there, is trying to show a couple of stronger cells there as well. Eventually, by about 7 a.m., those will push east. And this model is where this is where it's starting to get, the models are not agreeing. Okay, I will say every model does have some sort of morning round. It's the timing, it's how long they last, and it's how severe they are that the models are not agreeing on. Okay, because here's this model at about 8 to 9 a.m. trying to show another wave of stronger cells developing. By the way, you also see this wave stretch all the way up to our friends in southern Indiana. I don't really see that being a severe threat up there at this time because with this type of system, just like we saw the last couple of weeks, it's the southern half of the systems that will likely be the more severe side. So you have to pay attention, for example, to a place like Owensboro, right? If you go to that Owensboro and follow that cell all the way to the north, you'll see it's attached to a line of storms. But it's the southernmost cell within that line of storms that has the potential to be severe. So that's kind of what we're looking at for tomorrow. Advance this forward to 9 to 10. You'll see the model kind of sees a cluster of cells pushing out toward northern Kentucky. This is valid for, once again, 10 a.m. Eastern time. And then we do get a period of clearing out slightly before the next line of storms tries to push through. This is really fast. This is a really fast kind of multiple way. We're technically on wave 3 here. Or storm line number 3 here, approaching Owensboro, for example. So this is really fast for multiple storm lines to come through. And typically, I would say, at this point, I think our environment might be worked over. But when I go over here and I click on the dew points, and the dew points are still in the mid-60s. So those storms that came through, right? Here are our dew points, by the way, going into when this actually starts. Here's the dew points a few hours later, a few hours later, a few hours later, a few hours later. Typically, when you see that many rounds of storms come through, you see the dew point go down. Our dew point's not going down. That tells us there's a possibility of what we call a steady state environment for tomorrow. And what a steady state environment is an environment that can handle multiple rounds of storms and still produce stronger to severe weather. It's a little bit more on the rare side for Kentucky because typically once we get something to happen, it pretty much wipes out the whole day. And that is a possibility for tomorrow. The model could just be reading this wrong. But the model was trying to say, hey, these dew points aren't going down, guys. So there may still be some energy available. Now, dew points aren't end all be all, but they're kind of a good sign to look at when it comes to how much moisture and kind of how much energy may be left. Okay, coming back to the radar here. Once again, this is valid for 11 a.m. You'll see a line of storms begins to organize and then kind of just gets a little bit off to the northeast there and just continues to kind of organize. At some point, this line will stop. It will stop and it will organize. And it's where it stops and where it organizes at that has the potential to see the strongest winds and perhaps another chance at tornadoes. By the way, all of those cells that we saw on Wednesday morning also have all modes of severe weather possible with them. So even though they're happening, between, 4 a.m. to 10 a.m., and we're thinking, oh, that's usually when the environment's a little bit more tame. That is true. But there's so much wind energy out there with the storm system that even those storms at 4 to 10 a.m., all they need is a little bit of juice, a little bit of gas, and they'll go. And they'll just go. You'll see that storm line is starting to stall out, and it begins to organize, and you'll see where it organizes at. Okay, so I'm going to pull the drawing tool back out once again here. Here we have that organization of the storm line in this blue area where I'm circling. I know it might be a little bit difficult to see, but that's your main front right there. This is the main storm line that we are expecting to see that may produce stronger to severe weather. You'll see within that storm line, there's many deeper cores there that could produce stronger to severe weather. Right, all those purples that you're seeing are some of the strongest radar signatures that you can get. So again, this does indicate some stronger to severe storms. Now, the interesting thing with this storm line is this will only survive for about 50 to 75 miles to the east, and then it will die. You'll so watch as I go through here. Clicking it forward. See how it's dead. It's dead. So again, we come back here. This is kind of where it materializes and where it organizes. And in 3 clicks, which is 3 hours, it's done. It's just stronger rain. There could be the potential for a couple of strong cells still in here, but they wouldn't be anything like what we just saw when the line originally went. And the reason for that is as soon as the line organizes and then it finally ejects, which means just simply move, it's going to move away from the better wind field above, way up into the atmosphere, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 miles up into the atmosphere. The reason that it gets so strong back here is because it's right in line with 80 to 100 knots of wind that are occurring about 2 to 3, 4 miles up. So again, that's why this storm line here is really strong. And then all of a sudden in 3 to 4 hours, by about 5 to 6 to 7 a.m. or by about 7 p.m., it's pretty much done. Now the model does try and show some reinvigoration of that storm line over here toward like West Liberty, getting over just east of Lexington. It does try and show some reinvigoration of the line down here towards Somerset as well. But again, it may just be a model flaw there. So based off of this model run alone, your main risk area for the main line is going to be something like this. And again, if you look at our forecast, it's pretty similar. It's not exact, but it's pretty similar. Again, this is one model run. This is likely going to move a little bit, shift a little bit throughout the night as that storm line from what we just saw on the radar kind of gets going on and brings down to our south. But again, based off of this one model run, this is kind of your main area for the main line. And ironically enough, this is also kind of the same area that saw those morning cells. So if you go back here to 5 a.m., right, we see those cells going toward Owensboro and Louisville into southern Indiana. And then we see those cells once again toward Owensboro. This is around 8 a.m. or so. And then one in Louisville, one toward northern Kentucky, toward Cincinnati. And then we go again. And then now here comes the main line by about 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 p.m., somewhere in that early afternoon time frame. Again, time frames are going to be kind of up in the air until we see the storms actually kind of organizing tomorrow. And then here we go by about 3 to 4 p.m. It's pretty much the same areas. Now, again, also you have another little area down here where the model is trying to pick up. It pretty much gaps areas like Bowling Green and Hopkinsville, so on and so forth. But again, that just may be the model being a little bit wrong on exact location. So don't take this 100% verbatim. This is one model run. This is probably the best model right now to handle this. But you can kind of see where those areas are in Kentucky, according to this one run, where things may get a little bit hairy. All right. Now, another thing I want to show you is what we call, where is it at here? Significant tornado parameter. And the reason I want to show you this, I don't think this is a great kind of tool to use, but it does at least show kind of the areas where the energy may be best mixing for severe weather. By the way, you can see out to our west into Illinois and Missouri why they have a severe threat out there. Look how high those numbers are out there. Now, typically you want to see this number get over 3, really to see severe weather. You can sometimes get it at 2 or even 1, but really over 3 is where confidence grows. So advancing forward, you'll see that about 4, we get to about 7 a.m. We start getting some numbers close to that. Murray, Hopkinsville, Madisonville, Owensboro. Advancing forward about 8 to 9 to 10. Again, now we're getting Louisville into that time frame around lunchtime. And then here comes that main line, 3 to 4 p.m. You'll see there is some sparks all the way up to about 5 or 6 just east of Owensboro, heading into Meade and Breckenridge counties. And then it kind of just fades away because, again, that line fades away, right? So, again, the significant tornado parameter is not very high for tomorrow, so that the tornado threat is not very high for tomorrow. I do think there may be a couple possible inside of Kentucky, especially if they get any cells that get away from the line. With the line itself, 60 to 75 mile per hour wind gusts are possible within that line. And in some isolated spots, especially northern Kentucky toward Ohio, some of those wind gusts can get all the way up to 80 mile per hour if you get the right conditions that are available for it. So this is why we told you folks, hey, if you're kind of in, a mobile home or RV tonight or for tomorrow, I think, it's probably best to have a backup plan in place and maybe not be in those homes for tomorrow. Here is the tornado risk posted by the SPC. You can see it's mainly a 2 to 4% risk in green. This hatched area that you see here over here is I believe SIG 1 is what it's called. I still have to get used to it. A SIG 1, this is new. This is part of that. Remember that, a couple weeks ago we talked about, hey, the SPC is going to start rolling out new maps and a new way of doing this. This is what they were talking about. So SIG 1 basically means a low-end significant tornado is possible. So you're talking about EF3 up to EF3 possible. So this means if you want to know how to read this over here on this far green side in that hatched area, that means a 2 to 4% chance is possible, or goodness gracious, my brain's like all over the place because there's so many. I'm still trying to get used to these new maps myself because it's a lot. There's a 2 to 4% chance of a significant tornado to occur in the hatched area. There's a 2 to 4% chance of a non-significant tornado to occur in this regular green area. And if you're in the brown area, that's a 5% chance of a significant tornado occurring within 25 miles of a point somewhere in that brown area. Basically, that's how you read that. I know that's a lot. Here is the wind risk, and they have upgraded this a little bit, and you can kind of see. Now, on the old way that the SPC used to do this, anytime you got a red or a 30% wind risk out, that automatically meant a level 3 out of 5 risk on the regular general outlook. Now, it doesn't mean that. I'm still trying to get used to it all. I think it's a good change. It's just going to take some getting used to on these changes. But basically, this red is a 30% probability of damaging winds in that red zone. So that means roughly 30% of that red zone is going to see damaging winds or something like that. Again, still trying to get used to all that. In the yellow, it's a 15% risk of damaging winds. I do think, in my opinion, that this red zone needs to stretch further into Kentucky for that main line. The reason that it has not, once again, is because we don't know how those morning storms are going to affect the environment. The models are saying they're not really going to have much effect on it. Our human brains tell us, man, that's 3 rounds of storms between 4 to 10 a.m. That absolutely should have some sort of impact on weakening the environment for the main line Wednesday afternoon. So, again, it's all about kind of a wait-and-see game. Here's the hail threat, by the way, for Kentucky for tomorrow. I don't really see that occurring because these storms should be surface-based. And when surface-based storms occur, which mean they're closer to the ground, you have way less of a chance of hail occurring with those. Not impossible, but far less of a chance. I don't know if NatoCast is updated on here yet. It's not, so we can't look at that. But if you saw those maps earlier, that's kind of, still kind of where things are at. Let's go ahead and throw this back on, and we'll get to a few of your questions now. At this point, I think we've gone over a lot of things here, and we'll get to, a lot of your questions here. Before we do that, I want to give you a quick read from our supporters here. It takes about 2 minutes, and they're the reason we could be here for you guys 24/7, so I hope you guys consider supporting these businesses. When Kentucky weather turns rough, your tires, brakes, and battery matter more than ever. Creekside Auto and Tires in E-Town and Vine Grove has you covered. From tires and batteries to oil changes, brakes, and maintenance, call 270-769-9690 and mention Weather Now Kentucky for extra savings. That's Creekside Auto and Tires, where safe driving starts at the road. When severe weather hits Kentucky, like tomorrow, your roof is your first line of defense. Hyper Roofing right here in Hardin County offers one of the only GAF wind warranties in the entire state. It's built to protect your home when storms strike. If your roof has taken wind or hail damage, trust the local experts, and that's at Hyper Roofing. So, again, that's Hyper Roofing in Hardin County. From planting season to harvest, Kentucky farmers depend on equipment that works as hard as they do. Right Implement with locations across Kentucky provides the equipment, service, and support you can count on, rain or shine. When the weather matters, experience matters. That's Right Implement serving Kentucky agriculture. If you're traveling or dealing with weather disruptions and need a safe place for your pet, Creature Comfort Inn in Brandenburg offers trusted boarding with the comfort and care that your pets deserve. And first-time pet stays receive 10% off when you mention Weather Now, Kentucky. That's Creature Comfort Inn. And the final two here: Once Upon a Child in in E-Town and on Outer Loop in Louisville. Kids grow fast, and Kentucky families need smart savings. Once Upon a Child in E-Town and on Outer Loop in Louisville buys and sells gently used kids' clothes, toys, and gear at unbeatable prices. So again, that's Once Upon a Child. And finally, if you're looking to refresh your wardrobe without breaking the bank, Plato's Closet in E-Town buys and sells stylish, gently used clothing for teens, teens and young adults for less. The same local family ownership between Once Upon a Child and Plato's Closet, by the way. So make sure you go support that local Kentucky family. And, of course, shop at the same places that me and Brianna do as well. Or Brianna and I should say. Goodness gracious, my grandma's not there tonight. Okay, that's our supporters there. Again, we thank them so much for allowing us to be here for you guys 24/7. We hope you guys consider supporting them. Again, let me get to a few of your questions now at this point. Take a little drink here. Okay. By the way, we are on the peach mango tonight. Sometimes there's a lot of people that ask me which one I'm drinking, and peach mango is the one tonight. By the way, for all those folks in TikTok, I see a lot of new faces in here. Love you guys for tuning in, but I do want to make it clear we only cover Kentucky. So if you're not from Kentucky or somewhere along the Kentucky borders, unfortunately, we will not be able to answer your questions because I only cover Kentucky. I wouldn't answer a question about some other place. So I see a lot of Michigan, Indianapolis, Florida, all the way Kansas. Again, I love you guys to death. Hope you guys get through the severe weather tonight. We do not cover those areas, my friends. Okay. I'm in northern Kentucky. Do you think we will get bad tornadoes or any at all? I'm definitely afraid of tornadoes. Again, I've kind of maintained this throughout the last couple of days, and I'll maintain it again here tonight. The damaging wind risk is the main risk at play. There is also the potential for a couple of tornadoes throughout Kentucky. It's about a 2 to 4% risk, in my opinion, which again is very low on the scale. Need to travel to Louisville tomorrow. Better to go early. I think there will be a break sometime between. I mean, we've seen several systems like this in the past. This is nothing new to us, and there's almost always a break sometime between 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So if you're traveling tomorrow and want to avoid the storm activity, especially if you're going in somewhere in the northern half of Kentucky, again, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. is probably the best time frame there. Will there be a tornado watch or a severe thunderstorm watch tomorrow? Douglas, your guess is as good as mine on that, my friend. Again, I can't get that specific on things, guys. Do you think there will be a tornado threat in the morning wave? There probably will be because, again, the amount of wind energy that's out there is unfortunately going to be pretty high regardless of the time frame tomorrow. Now, those storms in the morning should struggle a little bit because there won't be as much CAPE with those, which is commonly referred to as storm fuel. So, again, those storms should struggle a bit, but there will be an inevitable kind of threat with that. Someone on TikTok said, "Is this for tomorrow?" This is for tomorrow. That's correct. What percentage chance is there for hail in Louisville, Kentucky? Again, I think it was 5% from the SPC. Should Harlan worry about tornadoes tomorrow? I believe everyone in the state is at a 2%, at least a 2% risk for tornadoes, which again is very low, but that means that everyone is in the state is included in that risk. What's the timing for Bowling Green? Again, the timing for tomorrow, guys, is kind of up in the air because it all depends on what that morning wave is going to do. I can tell you the morning wave is going to be from 4 a.m. to 10 a.m.-ish, and then we should see a break. And then the main line is going to be basically from 2 to about 6 p.m. Eastern time. So the good news is tomorrow night we actually get to end things, which, by the way, I forgot to show you guys this. Let me show you the guys that are still in here. Look at this for tomorrow or for, pretty much after this event. So we talked about those dew points, right? And we talked about how muggy. By the way, I know this is we're kind of glanced over this a little bit, but look at these dew points for tomorrow at 1 p.m. Upper 60s for many folks in Kentucky. This is incredibly rare for March. Typically in March, we don't see dew points get this high. Typically, these dew points come in like May, late May, getting into June, maybe even July. Again, extremely abnormal conditions for March for tomorrow. But look at the sheer strength of this cold front that's coming through. Watch these dew points just absolutely crash. I mean, look at that. Just crashed all the way into the 30s and then maybe even into the 20s by Thursday. So again, I mean, just the sheer strength of that cold front really comes through. I mean, look at these are the dew points as of 4 p.m. tomorrow. Here it is by 8 p.m. tomorrow. Just a sudden 20-degree drop. I mean, it's going to feel like a completely different place outside tomorrow afternoon and evening. So again, those are your dew points. Look at what happens to your temperatures. So here are your temperatures for tomorrow as those storms kind of get going through here just for 2 to 3 p.m. So this would be your high for tomorrow. Again, if you see less storm coverage tomorrow, you may make a run at 80 degrees, by the way. But here's what happens after that frontal line comes through. I mean, just absolutely tanks the temperatures down. This is a pretty robust cold front that's coming through. I mean, that's almost a 40-degree drop for some of you. I mean, it is insane how strong that cold front's going to be for tomorrow. So I forgot to show you guys that, and I just wanted to show you because I thought that was pretty intense. When I came on, you had circles in some parts of Kentucky. What was that for? Those were the areas I felt like I had the most confidence in seeing strong to severe weather. Yes, Heather, thank you very much. Heather says, please do not spam the chat. He will get to you when he has a minute. So those of you that may be newer here, just want to let you know we are live across 3 different platforms tonight. I can't say where or else I'm going to get banned on TikTok. But we are live across 3 platforms tonight, and right now we have an accumulation of about 2.7 thousand viewers. And I can only see about 4 comments at a time before they refresh. So just keep in mind, I'm not ignoring you. I'm not missing your questions on purpose. There's a lot of comments coming through here. What's the look for London, Kentucky? How hard is it going to hit us? Any tornadoes? Again, damaging winds, the main risk for everybody, folks. 2 to 4% risk for it. So again, for all of you asking about specific locations, I just want you to take a look at this map. And I want you to realize, I'm not getting on anybody, okay? So don't cancel me. Don't think I'm being mean, but I'm trying to be very clear here because I know there's a lot of storm anxiety happening. But I want you to look at this map, and I want you to realize every single county in Kentucky is under a yellow or a slight or 2 out of 5 risk, okay? So that means you're all at the same risks. Damaging winds being the main one. And then below that, there is a tornado risk. But for many of you throughout the state, that tornado risk is only a 2%. So again, turning that off, turning this on, you'll see that everybody in Kentucky is included in a tornado risk. It is 2%. Again, if you click here, you can see it's 2% category, 2% tornado risk. It's over here where there is a little bit of a stronger chance for some of that weather to really pop up and produce some stronger tornadoes. Again, this hatched area means that there is a significant tornado possible, which is I think EF2 to EF3. Brown is 5%. That's really the only difference, and that's really only going to be for Ashland to Maysville to Moorhead, Louisa, Grayson, getting up toward Ohio, and so on and so forth. That's really the only difference. So everyone in the state tomorrow is pretty much at the same risk. Now, in my opinion, the northern half of Kentucky has a better risk to see more severe weather. And the reason for that, again, is that's going to be where the better winds above our head are going to be. And it's also going to be where the better chance for those lines to kind of train over could be as well. So just, again, kind of point that out there. Everyone's at the same risk for tomorrow. So a lot of you are going to get the exact same answers. So just kind of give you a heads up on that. I don't want you to think I'm just kind of brushing over you or anything like that. No, you genuinely, guys, you all are pretty much the same risk for tomorrow. Trying to make that as big as possible so it gets as many cities in there as possible. That's about as big as I can get it before it starts cutting off. Timing, by the way, someone asked about timing. The morning round would be 4 a.m. to 10 a.m., and then we should see a break somewhere in there. And then you get that main line between 2 to 6 p.m. Are you thinking more EF0 to EF2 or stronger tornadoes? Okay, I can't make this as clear as possible here. I can't make this any more clear. I think the tornado risk for tomorrow in Kentucky is very low. Very low. Now, a couple of them are possible, right? When you get this much robust weather into one place, you're going to get a spit out here or there. I think the damaging wind risk is by far the main risk, and I think it's a concerning risk. So again, my guesstimation is that if we do see a tornado tomorrow in Kentucky, it would be of the weaker variety because we don't have as much turning of the winds as we go up into the atmosphere. A lot of our winds in the atmosphere are going the same direction as they are at the ground. That means more of a wall of winds, not necessarily turning of winds. That's why you see the better tornado risk up there into Ohio and Pennsylvania, because they have more turning winds happening up there, whereas in our area, it's more of straight line winds. So typically, this leads to more damaging straight line wind gust. And yes, you can get a couple of tornadoes still, but they should be of sort of the weaker variety. Now, if those conditions change, I will let you guys know, but I just want to make it very clear because I'm still seeing a lot of tornado questions, and I get it. You all have anxiety and so on and so forth, and I understand that, but I just want to make it very, very clear. The tornado risk in tomorrow in Kentucky is much lower than the damaging wind risk tomorrow in Kentucky. It's not impossible, but it's much lower. Should we be concerned about tonight's storms? No. Again, I don't think there will be any storms tonight. It's more about 4 a.m. to 10 a.m. tomorrow morning when things start to kind of spark off. Thank you, everyone on TikTok, for the gifts. We appreciate that. Do you think it's a chance? Do you think there's a chance it's bad when kids are headed to school in Hardin County? I think the school thing is very tricky for tomorrow because here's my thing. I've had so many people ask me about this. So for those of you that have kids at school tomorrow or anything of that nature, here's kind of my take on that, right? Obviously, the bigger concern is when they're in the bus, right? Those buses absolutely are terrible at handling any wind. So I have seen in the past where schools will cancel when we have days like this. The problem with that is that this is not a guarantee for tomorrow, right? If we see a bunch of those storms in the morning, right, those will be windy, but it will also help to limit the severe threat for tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening. So it gets really hairy. It gets really hairy. And I'm of the opinion that your kid is probably going to be safer at school than they would be in your own building at home. The only thing that's going to be less safe is the emotional thing, right? They don't feel you're not there with them and they're not there with you. So the emotional thing is harder. But scientifically wise, your kid's going to be safer in the school building because most of those schools are made out of multiple layers of concrete and brick. So it would likely take a violent tornado to really cause anything for them to happen at school. Again, it's not impossible, but I don't really think violent tornadoes are going to be our thing tomorrow. So here's my, again, kind of my quick skinny on it here. Your kid's going to be safer at school tomorrow. It's the bus ride to me that gets a little bit questionable because, again, the main time frame for that main line of storms with all the, the punch of winds that we're talking about for tomorrow is unfortunately going to be 2 to 6 p.m. So that makes that afternoon commute on the bus is a little bit tricky. And then, of course, in the morning is 4 a.m. to 10 a.m., which unfortunately also includes that morning commute. So for those parents that may be a little bit terrified of tomorrow, your kid's going to be safer in school, but they're going to be a little bit more at risk on the buses if you see, of course, a wind punch. So that, to me, leads to one viable solution for you that can calm your nerves, which is that you yourself travel your kid to school and back tomorrow, because in that school building, they will be safer than they will be in your building at home, 9 times out of 10. So, again, that's the viable solution. That's what I would do if when my kids go to school and I see something like this, because really the only risk for tomorrow for them is going to be in that bus ride, right? If you think about it. So again, that's what I would do. That's just me. A lot of you parents are going to make your all's own decisions, but I've had a lot of folks ask me that today, and that's my answer, is that really they're going to be safer in that building. It's just the travel where things get a little bit hairy, because I've seen several times where those buses get knocked over by 60-mile-per-hour winds because they're so top-heavy, obviously. And we have seen in the past, by the way, school systems, when we get to the morning of and they're looking at the data that's coming in and they're watching people like us and the NWS and so on and so forth. And we've had school systems ask us in the past. And I have seen it in the past where schools will cancel or they will dismiss early, right after lunchtime or whatever that is. So I will say this. If schools want to do that, if there's any schools watching, there will be a window between 12 and 2 where you can most likely get the kids home safely. That's it. But unfortunately, there's also going to be a lot of parents out there that get irately mad at these school systems anytime they close or cancel early. So for the school systems, there's no way that they can win, right? There's going to be people mad either way. So that's my take on it. Anyway, will tornadoes be below EF2? Again, I think I'm going to be done with the tornado questions when it comes to strength, guys, because we can't forecast strength of tornadoes, right? We can just tell you if the conditions are favorable or non-favorable for them. And to me, tomorrow, the conditions are more favorable for damaging winds. If we do see a tornado in Kentucky tomorrow, it will likely be of the weaker variety, but we can't rule out, a one or two significant tornadoes, especially the northeastern side of the state toward Maysville, Ashland, getting up toward Ohio. So again, that's kind of where we're at on that tornado risk for tomorrow. James said, "What will the Central Kentucky wind speeds be? The potential for any of these cells, if they turn severe, again, this is potential. This is not a guarantee that you're going to see it specifically. The potential for this line is 60 to 75 mile per hour, and there may be an isolated case of up to 80 mile per hour tomorrow because again, we have so much wind speeds occurring above our heads. But there is a potential for unfortunately, along that line, if it has enough time to clear out and destabilize, could produce 60 to 75 mile per hour winds within those severe cells. By the way, thank you to everyone again on Facebook for all that kindness. We appreciate you. Unfortunately, because of TikTok, I can't thank you for exactly what you did, but you guys know what you did, and thank you very much for your kindness. I see a lot of questions about timeframes. Again, that morning time frame is going to be 4 a.m. to 10 a.m. The main line is going to be 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. tomorrow. So that's unfortunately as specific as we can get on the timeframes. And that morning round can go anywhere. On the model data itself, that morning round was kind of hugging the Ohio River. But there's also some model data that has no morning round of storms. And there's also some other model data that has that morning round of storms into Bowling Green, Campbellsville, Somerset, and Danville. So again, that morning round of storms can go anywhere tomorrow. That main line of storms is likely going to be, along the Ohio River into central and eastern Kentucky. The severe threat for the morning is pretty much all risk are on the table. Unfortunately, with damaging winds being the main priority as well. Weston, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Can we sleep? Of course you can, as long as you have a weather radio or something else to alert you in case there is, of course, that unfortunate scenario. Again, I always recommend that you guys sleep. If you really want to be up for it, I really want to make sure you're safe. Of course, set an alarm for about 4 to 5 a.m. We will be up probably at about 3 a.m. to make sure everything's going okay for you guys. So, I already took my nap today. My wife thank you, shout out to Brianna. I don't know if she's still getting the kids ready for bed or not, but shout out to Brianna, my wife, for letting me nap today because I knew it was going to be potentially a long night tonight, or at least a long morning tomorrow, followed by a potential severe round tomorrow afternoon. So I wanted to make sure I got as much sleep as possible today. So shout out to my wife. So everyone say thank you to my wife for letting me nap today, or you're going to get cranky George tomorrow, and no one wants that. Will you be live tomorrow? Of course, we will be live during the storms tomorrow if they present any danger. Now, it does not mean because you hear lightning in your backyard that we need to go live, but if there is any danger, we will be live, or at the very least, let you know of it. Yeah, Emily, thank you very much. I appreciate that. But I live in Harrodsburg. When will we be getting the storm? Again, 4 to 10 a.m. is the morning round. 2 to 6 p.m. is the afternoon round. Are the strong winds something to seek shelter for if we live in a camper? Absolutely. Because unfortunately, campers and mobile homes can't handle any type of wind, let alone 60 to 75 mile per hour winds. What ingredients are missing for a higher tornado risk? What is Kentucky lacking? So again, that's going to be the turning of winds. We do have enough energy available in pretty much every other aspect. There's not a whole lot of storm fuel, but there is enough available. If a tornado wants to go, it can go. The difference for tomorrow for Kentucky versus other areas throughout the country is that we don't have a turning of winds in the atmosphere. So what I mean by that is I don't know if I have it set up here, but I'm going to check and see if I do. It would be under shear. Okay. I think I have it set up here. Yeah. So what I mean by that is if you look at these winds, let's get this queued up. Here we go. Yeah, perfect, right there. If you look at these winds, look at this arrow here. This is why we don't have a higher tornado risk in Kentucky. See how they're pretty much going southwest to northeast if you look at those arrows, right? That's about a mile above our heads. Now, if we go up here and we look at about 2 miles above our heads, or I'm sorry, not 2 miles, but I think it's 5 miles up, there is a little bit of a turn there, but they're mainly southwest to northeast, right? Now, if we go over here and we look at the winds at the ground, they're also southwest to northeast. So again, that's pretty much the difference between us seeing a tornado risk or not. All of the winds at the different layers of the atmosphere are pretty much going the same direction. There was a slight turn. If we go back up here, you see how they're a little bit more west to east. There's a little bit of a turn there, and that is why there's a little bit of a tornado risk for tomorrow, but not a whole lot. Now, if we go up somewhere like here toward, let's go to where they have the higher tornado risk tomorrow, which is up here in like Ohio, getting toward Pennsylvania. Right, we see the winds up here. Southwest to northeast, west to east. By the way, if you see these, west to east down here. So that's definitely a turn there. And then, of course, at the ground, those are also west to east. So they turned as they went up. So if we remember back to the first one we saw, this is how the storms are going now at the ground, and this is how those winds were when they went up. So you saw how that turned. Whereas in Kentucky, they kind of went like this. So that's why we don't have a highest or a higher tornado risk in Kentucky tomorrow. If we do see those winds start to turn, then of course we have a problem. But for now, the winds are mainly going the same way, and that creates a wall of winds, not necessarily a turn of winds, if that makes sense. Okay. Is there an app that I can get that has the same setup as you? I don't know what you're meaning by that, but we use the WeatherWise radar app. So this one here, this is what we use to track the storms live and look at the radar here, which by the way, again, just want to show you guys, nothing really happening in Kentucky tonight. These storms are dying because there's too much of a cap here. Whereas if you go up here, I just want to check real quick. I just want to check. I mean, look at this stuff up here. It is, God, I will just say, I'm so thankful we're not seeing this severe threat tonight because, man, the energy that's out there tonight is crazy, especially for places up here. They've got tornadoes everywhere. They've got destructive thunderstorms everywhere. That's what is that? Is that baseball-sized hail? It's either baseball or golf ball-sized hail occurring there. And then, of course, you go all the way out here. They've got golf ball-sized hail there, getting close to Wichita, 70-mile-per-hour winds there. Tornado warning on the eastern side of Oklahoma City, along with golf ball-sized to baseball-sized hail there. I mean, it's just there are insane thunderstorms everywhere tonight. And luckily, Kentucky's missing those tonight. Unfortunately, we probably won't miss those tomorrow. Go back here. Yes, 4 to 10 a.m. for the morning round. Yeah, Ethan, it's going to be pretty disgusting out there. Are you talking about 4:30 p.m. today to 5 a.m. tomorrow, or 4:30 p.m. tomorrow to 5 a.m.? If it's the latter option there, you're probably still good to go. What do you think about the supercell storm Manitoba in the morning? I seen it on your rapid post earlier. Do you have a radar to show I'm late? You can watch it on playback here in a little bit. We did show that in the beginning of this video. There's potential for those to be severe, but not every model shows that. And Bowling Green's the same risk as everyone else, mainly going to be damaging winds. Again, there is a 2% tornado risk as well. 2 potential rounds, 4 to 10 a.m. Wednesday morning and 2 to 6 p.m. Wednesday afternoon. Tomorrow during the severe weather event. Yeah, again, if you go into work tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. and then get off 5 a.m. Thursday, I think you'll mostly be okay. Between 4 to 10 a.m., what time for Lexington? Again, I could just get 4 to 10 a.m. Those supercells are going to pop up anywhere. So unfortunately, you can't get any more specific than that. Okay. Again, guys, for those of you that are watching on TikTok, we only cover Kentucky. You will not see me answer a question for any area outside of Kentucky. I love you all to death, but we only cover Kentucky. So I live in a trailer, but I have a basement in my safe. I don't think I've ever heard of a trailer having a basement. If you have a basement, yes. Would I be okay to go to Paducah around 9 and leave around 2 to head back to Fulton? I mean, you're going to be dealing with some very gusty thunder showers. So if you can drive through those, yes. But if not, no. Maysville's at a 5. Maysville's in one of the higher end areas, unfortunately. 5% tornado risk up there for tomorrow, mainly in the afternoon. Okay. Still getting a lot of time frame questions, guys. Again, 4 to 10 a.m. tomorrow morning is round 1, potentially, if we see a round 1. I want to say that very clearly, if we see a round 1. And then the main line is going to be 2 to 6 p.m. Eastern time. And I want to point out, once again, for those of you that may just not be tuning in here, first of all, welcome in. Thank you guys for sharing and liking the broadcast. I appreciate that a ton. I want to point out, take a look at, stop typing for a second. Love y'all, take a breath, but stop typing for a second. Look at the map. See how everyone in Kentucky is under the same color. That means everyone in Kentucky is under the same risk, which is damaging winds being the main priority. And then you have a 2 to 4% tornado risk for pretty much all of Kentucky. The only real difference is that up here into the northern portions of Kentucky, like Maysville, Frankfort, Owenton, Cynthiana, LaGrange, Vevay, Independence, Moorhead, Ashland, this northern Kentucky area north of the I-64 corridor, this area has a slightly higher potential to see more damaging winds and a slightly higher potential for a spin-up tornado or two tomorrow. Again, that's really the only real difference throughout Kentucky tomorrow. Everyone else at the same risk. So I just wanted to point that out for those of you that may just not be tuning in here. Is an apartment okay? As long as you're on the lowest floor. What time for Bowling Green? Once again, it'll be 4 to 10 a.m. for that morning round, potentially if you see a morning round, and then 2 to 6 p.m. for that main line, both Eastern times. What's a good weather app to use? WeatherWise is a phenomenal app. And also, I believe WeatherWise came out with something pretty cool, which is the Home tab now. This is not an ad, by the way. We don't do that with WeatherWise anymore. But I just want to show you if it's going to let me. It's not. I'm going to have to go to the full display here. Where is my full display here? Move my camera real quick. Just want to show you guys. I think this is pretty cool. Get started. Use my current location. Don't leak my location. Oh, well, GG. And I don't care anyway. You guys aren't going to do anything. You can get all this stuff. You can get all this stuff if you want. You guys go through it whenever you want. I'm just going to do the default ones that they come with here. And you can now see they have the 7-day kind of, I think they have a 7-day outlook or whatever. Feels like outside, precip chances, humidity chances. I don't know what all they have because I haven't looked at it too much here. You can also like drag the box out and put it wherever. Of course, it'll show you what kind of risk you're kind of included in. So if I click on tomorrow, I think it changes. It works better on the phone. I think they may have some work to do to it on the website. But yeah, it's got a pretty cool home app now that you can see everything. You can add widgets to your home devices and so on and so forth. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Everyone DoorDash tells you everything for your exact location. It's really cool. And now not only do you have that, but you have what I believe to show. Oh, I didn't realize I had the home symbol on the radar too. Oh, you guys know exactly where I live. Hopefully you guys don't kill me. I don't want to end up on all those Netflix documentaries, you weirdos. But you also have one of the best radars that's available. So again, that's not a segment or anything otherwise paid me to do. I just think it's really cool. And you also have the models here too, if you guys ever want to play with those, and so on and so forth. Really, I just really like WeatherWise. That's it. Also, I'm wearing their hoodie tonight, so it kind of fits. What is that app called? It's called WeatherWise. So you can go to any of your app stores and get it there, or you can go to the website weatherwise.app. You go to Chocolate Lab? I do, but sometimes I can't understand their prices. Like, it's good. It's really good. Sometimes I can't. We went there a few weeks ago just because we all had a sweet tooth, and I think we got 3 things and it was like $43, and I can go buy an entire dinner for that for the whole family. So I don't know. I do think it's really good. I just don't know about the prices. How will the wind be at 3 p.m.? Again, the wind potential is anywhere between 60 to 75 mile per hour if you can get a severe cell over your area. When the morning storms, where morning storms quit before reaching eastern Kentucky, will the evening rounds of storms be worse? That's a tricky question because technically eastern Kentucky is probably not going to see much activity for that morning round. And you would think that that would lead to a more severe potential tomorrow night. The problem with that is you're not going to have as much wind energy over there. You will still have plenty in eastern Kentucky, but you're not going to have as much as like central and northern Kentucky. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. Yeah, again in Harlan, Kentucky, it's the same risk as everyone else. Of course, as you guys look at the map here, everyone's in the same color. So everyone's at the damaging wind risk. Everyone's in that 2 to 4% tornado risk at least. And the main time frame is going to be 4 to 10 a.m. on Wednesday for a potential morning round, wherever those cells pop up and go. And then, of course, the main line is 2 to 6 p.m. Eastern time. And again, that's for everyone in the state. So for those of you asking about Harlan, Madisonville, Hopkinsville, Chuck E. Cheese, other places, everyone's answer is the exact same. The exact same. So again, time frame 4 to 10 a.m. in the morning, potentially for a potential morning round wherever those cells want to pop up. Okay. The main line is going to be 2 to 6 p.m. Eastern time. And again, that should favor the areas that we have highlighted in orange here. But it would still pose a severe risk to the yellow and green areas as well. This is the same map that we posted on Monday at 1:15 p.m. We have not changed it. I feel very confident in this map, unfortunately. And again, the risk is the same for darn near everybody. Everybody. The only difference is up there toward Maysville and toward Ashland and toward north of I-64, maybe even Florence as well. Maybe we should have expanded that orange zone a little bit to include Florence area. The damaging wind risk and the tornado risk is a little bit greater because you're a little bit closer to where the best energies are overlapping, right? That's the only difference. Everyone else in the state, y'all are the exact same. Y'all are twinsies, okay? Damaging winds the main risk, 2 to 4% tornado risk. Time frames 4 to 10 a.m. on Wednesday morning, 2 to 6 p.m. on Wednesday afternoon. Not Chuck E. Cheese. I don't even know how Chuck E. Cheese came to mind there. I haven't been there in like 15 years. Oh my God, I'm getting old. Y'all ever do that sometimes where you're thinking about something you did a long time ago and you're like, wait, I'm getting old. That's what just went through right there with me at that time. Yeah, see, so these are all type of storms, guys, where you want to get your shelter areas ready. Maybe not even necessarily for tornadic activity, but the damaging wind risk is 60 to 75 mile per hour, which will cause some damages. So you definitely want to make sure you're remaining indoors tomorrow, especially if you see a severe warning. What's John saying? John. What about Radcliffe, Fort Knox? Again, it's what I just said. Damaging winds, the main risk for everyone. 2 to 4% tornado risk. 4 to 10 a.m. in the mornings, the number one round. Number two round is going to be 2 to 6 p.m. Eastern time in the afternoon. Every day. Should I stay awake tonight? I don't think anyone needs to stay awake, but make sure you have a way to receive alerts. If you really want to be up for it, just set an alarm for about 4 a.m. You think there's a chance it could lose strength before morning? That morning round is kind of 50-50. The afternoon round depends upon the morning round. So this is the unfortunate thing about weather sometimes, is that unfortunately sometimes you have to wait until the day of. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Now we can look at the data until we're rolled over in our grave here, okay? But for a situation like this where we're dealing with two potential rounds, and the models are trying to tell us that morning round is not going to affect the environment at all. Unfortunately, sometimes you got to wait until the morning of, and that's the thing that sucks. Okay, but it's the God's honest truth. We have to wait until tomorrow and see exactly how that storm system tomorrow morning is going to pan out, how long it lasts, what are the impacts from that, right? And then we can start to see, okay, where is it clearing out at? Are we seeing any sunshine anywhere? Where is that line starting to organize at? Where is the cap starting to bust at? So again, there's a lot of questions that unfortunately we're just not going to know until about tomorrow morning when you go to work, maybe toward lunchtime. That's just the God's honest truth. It's the unfortunate thing. You would think that we're in 2026, we would have better data available, but again, that's just the honesty of the gravity of the situation. Brooke on TikTok says, so what round should we be most concerned about? It's definitely going to be that main line. That's going to be the heaviest concern for me. 2 to 6 p.m. in the afternoon. That morning round has the potential to produce severe weather as well. There's just a lot of questions. 4 to 10 a.m. in the morning. That's usually the calmest time of the atmosphere. Is it really going to have enough energy to produce severe weather? We did see on this past Saturday, there was a tornado that occurred out there toward Mayfield, Kentucky, somewhere very close to that, this past Saturday at like 11 o'clock in the morning. So, again, it's possible. We've seen it before. It's just a little bit more on the rare side. So, typically, in my opinion, you would be more concerned with the afternoon round. But again, it all comes down to what does that morning round look like? How long does it last? Where exactly does it go? Does it span? Is it very wide? Is it very large? Does it block the warm air from coming up into Kentucky in the afternoon? So again, there's a lot of questions that unfortunately we're not going to know until that morning round gets going and we can start to see what's happening. I guess on the wind speeds for around Bath County or where they died down, again, the potential with that line is 60 to 75 mile per hour winds. Again, that's going to be if you see a severe part of that line. The entire line is not going to be 60 to 75 mile per hour. We're not just going to see a complete wall of winds come through, but there will be isolated pockets within that line that has the potential to go up to 60 to 75 mile per hour. Okay. We will be watching your storm broadcast tomorrow for homeschooling. Yeah, I will be live tomorrow during the storms. Of course, if any dangers present themselves. Graves Disciple on YouTube or on the Red app almost said, TikTok's going to ban me for that too. I already know it. TikTok is so sensitive. Do you think models will ever get to perfect forecasting? I don't think so, guys. I don't because, I'm trying to say this without. I'm a little bit religious, and I'm going to say this. Don't get mad at me. Don't cancel me. I don't think science made our atmosphere and our environment. I think God did. So that's just me. Don't cancel me. I know some of you don't believe it. I'm not forcing it on you. I'm not forcing anything on you. I love you guys. Everybody can believe what they want. Everybody can do what they want. Okay, don't cancel me. But that's why I also think that the models struggle sometimes. And that's why I also don't think we'll ever get to a point where models are perfect and where AI can just handle it because our environment and our atmosphere and our earth is so dynamic, right? It's really hard for models are made out of algorithms and equations and math and everything, and it spits out an image, right? I don't think you can put an algorithm on our environment. I just don't think you can. There's no perfect formula for it. And that's why, to me, I don't think you're ever going to see a perfect weather model or a perfect AI weather model. Maybe after we're dead and gone. But as of now, I think our environment and our planet is so dynamic that you just can't make it a formula that's going to handle it perfectly. I think I just kind of spit right there. I don't know. Sorry, please don't cancel me. I know there's a lot of sensitive people out there, guys. Everyone, I am religious, but I also am of the belief people can do what they want, believe what they want, see what they want. I'm not one of those people that are going to push it on you. You'll find light at some point, but that's so. Please don't cancel me for that. I really try to avoid anything religious or political on our broadcast or our page. But someone asks a question, and I'm going to answer it honestly. Okay. All right. I think that's going to do it for us here. If you're wanting to see the radar or anything else, we've already covered that in the broadcast here. So when this gets done processing, you can go back and watch it, and you'll see all the information. We've been live for over an hour here, and I want to get into the new data that's coming in, so that way I can make a late night post updating you guys. So make sure you check out our other platforms that we're on, and we'll have a post update for you later on tonight. Letting you know kind of what we're seeing, if anything's changed. And then, of course, when the new SPC forecast comes out around 1 a.m., we'll post that for you as well, so that way you guys can kind of see that. When the storms get going tomorrow, we will be up. We will be live if they get dangerous or impactful. So either way, no matter what happens, you'll always have us in your ear tomorrow if you want us to be there for you guys. Okay. I love you guys. I'm going to head out of here. Thank you so much for tuning into the broadcast. I appreciate you guys so much. Make sure you have notifications turned on so you don't miss anything for tomorrow or our updates throughout this event. Until next time, I'm George Herbert, Chief Forecaster here with Weather Now Kentucky. Thank you so much for tuning in. Stay safe, friends.